Is it broad enough? Yeah, okay, that's fine. Good. Yeah, and I will also need a terminal, and now I am good. I think now I can start. Okay. I'm sorry for this small problem. Technical problem. A pure technical problem. This small talk, this short talk, I hope, is about using drag and drop with Tablelist. So I think most of you have already heard of Tablelist or have already working experience with it. How many of you have already used drag and drop with Tablelist? Okay. Which drag and drop?
The built-in drag and drop, where you can shift.
No, that is local. That is local drag and drop.
Yeah.
But there are officially two drag and drop implementations. One is from TkDND, and the other one is the drag and drop framework of BWidget. So this talk will concentrate on these two drag and drop implementations. So I will show you my way of developing an application using TkDND, and the same for BWidget. So actually these are two demo scripts, but there are a lot of common parts in both scripts, and I will show you especially the things related to drag and drop. How do we register a Tablelist widget as a drag source? Actually, we can't register a Tablelist widget as a drag source. We must register the body component of the widget. That is simply affect all drag and drop implementations I am aware of expect a widget as a drag source, and do only support a widget as a drag source, and not some container. So this is necessary. If we use TkDND, that is a drag and drop implementation by Georgios Patasis, we have to use this version 2.7. As far as I know, there is an even newer, later version, 2.8. But so this is the minimum version we should use, 2.7. And the way to register a Tablelist, properly speaking, the body of the Tablelist widget is to invoke TkDND drag source register, and to define two binding scripts. So these are predefined binding tags: drag init command and drag init end command. So this is what we have to use. The same with BWidget is actually quite similar. You can even see that these binding tags are nearly the same as the names of the options for BWidget. So drag init command and drag end command. So the main difference is with TkDND we really have to implement binding scripts, and with BWidget we have to implement callbacks. Actually the same thing. We are still speaking about drag source, so table list body component as a drag source, and what is here maybe new, at any rate something that was not in Tablelist before I implemented this support. Maybe it is better to show you this with a small example. If I have a Tablelist widget that is here, having multiple selection mode. What do you think? What will happen when if I now click one of the selected items? I am doing this. I haven't yet released the mouse button. It is still pressed, and you see the selection. So this is the default behavior of the selection handling. And this is bad. This is bad for drag and drop. It is good for the general case, but bad for drag and drop. And for this reason, if you use Tablelist, the Tablelist body as a drag source, then the behavior will be different. Let's show you what I mean. Let's select several items. Now I am pressing the mouse button, the left mouse button. I am still keeping the mouse button pressed. Now I am releasing it. Now I'm releasing it, and now, so it depends. If I now start a drag operation, then it is good that the selection remains as it was. If I don't start the dragging, then it is good to have the common standard behavior, but with this difference, it will only happen if I release the mouse button. So that is quite important for drag and drop. Okay, let's come back. The same is for the selection mode multiple. I can't show you this, but you can imagine that it's the same problem. And another small difference is related to the common binding scripts. What happens if I make this widget a bit smaller? No, I'll show you again without drag source, without that drag source case. If I'm moving now, you see, of course, this is a standard behavior. But if this widget is registered as drag source, then this will not happen. It may not happen. So it is actually bad if it happens, and it will really not happen. Again, as just this time as a drag source, nothing happens. So I am dragging, and it doesn't scroll. It may not scroll. It is otherwise it would conflict with the drag handling.
But for scrolling, you have the mouse wheel normally.
Yeah, of course, or scroll bar or whatever. Yeah. Good.
Csaba, you're using the TkDND or? In
both cases. Or it makes no difference whether you are using TkDND or BWidget.
Yeah.
If the Tablelist code sees that you have registered the body of the Tablelist as a drag source for BWidget or TkDND, it changes the whole selection handling, and so it doesn't make any difference which drag and drop you are using. Okay, let's come back. So this is how Tablelist handles drag source, the drag source. Now what is with drop targets? There is a small small difference here. In this respect, TkDND is better than BWidget, because with TkDND we can register a tablelist widget as a drop target. With BWidget we can only register the body of the tablelist as a drop target. That is a small, sometimes important difference, because you see in the body of the tablelist you might have images, you might have embedded windows, you might have all kinds of other things. So it is better if the whole tablelist widget can be registered as a drop target, but this is only supported by TkDND. I had to convince Georgios Petasis. I had to write to him, I don't know how many emails to convince him that he must support this feature. Okay. And now he has done it. Okay, I'm good. What do we have to do? In case of TkDND, we have to call drop target register and to define some bindings for a few binding tags. The same for BWidget is again not based on bindings but on callbacks. As you see, we have to call drop site register, and after that we have to specify the values of these three options: drop over command, drop command, and I'm sorry, these are just two options, and the third option is related to the drop types we want to support. In this case, I have just shown an example for copy. The drop type actually drop type is a rather complicated list of whatever. You have to write tablelist data, but you can also write anything else. The whole thing is you have to use the same name later on in the commands you implement. And this copy, this is just the data type. The operation type. The operation. You want, in this example, we want to do a drag and drop, just a copy. We don't want to make to create any links, or we don't want to move something from one place to another. We just want to. So, as I said, in this example, I will show you how I can copy something from a drag source to a drop target. Of course, you can modify the script to move. You can modify the script to make some whatever you want. But this is just an example. Copy. Tablelist has these 4 subcommands for drop target support. These are described in the documentation. I'm sure you all have already read the documentation. I'm sure you always read the documentation, so I don't have to. Tell you much about these subcommands. Just a short description is: target mark pos will return exactly that what show target mark expects. It returns 2 things, actually a list of 2 elements. The first element is either before or inside, and the second one is a row index. So target mark pos gives you as a result. So you pass a y vertical coordinate, and as a result you get that this vertical position is, for example, before row number 10, or it is inside row number 10. That is a small difference. Huh? What does mean inside and what is before. So that depends on what you want to do with your drag and drop. Sometimes you just want to insert siblings, to insert a sibling before a row. Sometimes you want to update the data of a row. So again, if you want to insert siblings, then it is better to get the result. The vertical position is before a certain row. If you want to update that row, then it is better to get the result. It is inside that row. And which result you want to get, it depends on this optional argument. Okay? If you don't specify the value of this optional argument, or just pass any dash any, that means you can get both before and inside, but you can restrict the result to before or to inside by passing dash horizontal or dash vertical. So we will see this in a minute in an example. And the two other commands are just trivial. You can hide the target mark, or you can also get the path name of the target mark if you need it. Okay. Now let's see a demo slip. Before reading the code, let's see how it works, and actually what we want to do in this demo slip. This is a small lesson on the European Union. We are almost all of us in the European Union. Exception are maybe the two Russian colleagues and who still? Ah, yes, of course. So, so nearly all of us live in the European Union. So it is interesting to let's build the European Union. Let's build it. The first step was in this year, 1957. That was the Treaty of Rome. With the Treaty of Rome, 6 European states founded the European Union. If that was a treaty in Rome, that means one of the states was, of course, Italy. So let's drag Italy. And do you see now this target mark is inside this item and not before any item. It is inside the item, showing this year. And so now we have made Italy to a member of the European Union. Of course, France and Germany were also among the founder states. I can drag both with a single, with a common drag operation into and drop them under this year item. The problem is now, what if I want to get the states here in alphabetical order? There is no implemented automatic ordering. Of course, it could be done, but as you see now, we have no right sorting. So we can, for example, take Italy, delete it, and drag it again, but now drop it inside. Sorry. Yes, that was again dropping inside. But what if I now want to take, for example, Belgium? Belgium was also a founder state. Now, in case of Belgium, I can also create a sibling of any of the three child items. In this case, the target mark is before France, before Germany, before Italy. So let's drop it before France. So now we have the right order again. What about? Okay, 4 states. There are two more. That was Netherlands. The convention, at least in this application, is every time you drop something as a child, it will be appended. Okay, and so this is the way to append an item as a sibling. What have I forgotten? So let's see. Yes, and Luxembourg was one more. So now we have the founder states of the European Economic Community. That was the name at the time, and it was renamed to European Union with the Treaty of Schengen, as far as I can remember. That was.
Schengen was abolishing border control.
At any rate, it was much later. It was maybe 1993 or so. Also, at any rate, it was a long time called just the European Economic Community. Okay, Great. Where is Great Britain?
What happens if you drag one of the states which are already in the list over the list again? Is that possible?
Yes.
Did you put France in again on the same list? Could you have it twice?
France?
No.
In this example, it is possible, not, but of course, if you have a real application somewhere, which, for example, something you get money for it, in that case, there can be a lot of restrictions you have to implement. This is just an example showing you that you can of course drop whatever you want. For example, Croatia, but that is wrong. So I will delete it again. So it is just and you can repeat France. Yes, that was actually your question.
Yeah. Can you also delete by drag and drop, like pushing it out again, pulling it out?
And it is not implemented. So it is not implemented in this example.
Okay.
But of course, why not?
One question. When you drag an item between two siblings, you see a
horizontal
line.
That is the
standard, or you have to implement it too?
This is what Tablelist has built in.
Oh, okay.
You only have to call let's go back exactly. You only have to use these commands. Everything else is built in Tablelist. Okay. Now, of course, we can also drag and drop the capital cities. For example, for Belgium, what can we expect? It would be bad to be able to drop a capital city as a child of a year item. Yeah? It would also bad to if it would be possible to drop a capital city as a sibling of some state item. So of course it can also only be done by dropping it inside a state item. This is why you can now see this vertical target mark. So what was Brussels? Belgium, of course. Okay, so that is the way to drop the capital cities.
How do you distinguish between the drop sources? Do you distinguish based on the based on this media type, this Tablelist data?
I will show you that in a minute. We will have a short look at the code, but you are right. It is important to know the direct source, either the direct source or the data type, whatever, to be able to distinguish. Of course, because you could, of course, at least in the case of TkDND, you could also have any other application supporting drag sources, and you could drag whatever you want, any text, into this widget. But it is important to know not everything can be accepted here. So that is why I am also distinguishing here between the direct source state or capital. And the data type is also might be important. In this case, in this example, we have actually specified that we are only expecting text, data type text, but somebody else could drag whatever HTML or file name or whatever.
If you drag some text from, let's say, the console, if you just mark it and drag it into the list, then you will see this. Yes, exactly. Yes, but we will see that in the code. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you how it works. Now, of course, we could populate this left table. I could it now, but I have prepared it for a while. I don't know whether, for example, whether you know really all capitals and really all these years, in which year which state was taken into the European Union. Maybe there is just an important example. Yes, Greece was taken into the European Union in this year. This shows Greece has already been member of the European Union for 35 years. And we all know they have some problems. Some small problems, some temporary problems.
Before you close it, can you replace, when you drag again something on Brussels, where the cell is already populated, would you replace it when you put another one on it?
The capitals, you can
just take one from the right and.
Yeah, for example, let's see, Netherlands, we know capital is Amsterdam, but I could just try to
replace it.
It is replaced. There is no check here. So
of course.
Okay.
No, I just want to know whether it replaces or whether it refuses it because it's already filled. It doesn't. But you could do that, of course. That you can fill it only once.
You would have to implement that. So okay. Okay. There is a very important button here. Resolve. Now we see.
In this case, you've been talking about inserting it as a sibling. Do there need to be other siblings before I can insert another sibling? Do there need to be siblings before I can insert another sibling? Can I insert it below if there is no end below?
Of course, let's reset it again. Actually, I think I have shown you that for example, Finland. I think that was this year.
Now you're dropping it into.
That is now dropping inside a year item. Inside means, in this example, means to create a child.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can just to play. You could, in the case of Iceland, you could drop it either as a child of the same year item or as a sibling of Finland.
Can I insert it as a sibling of Finland behind Finland?
No, this, as said, this is just a matter of how you have implemented it. The convention is here for appending something, you always have to drop it as a child, but it would be possible. There is no restriction. This was just a design decision in this case.
Okay.
Also, because it is a little ambiguous. What do you mean with before? Would it mean you want a sibling of the year item 2004, for example? If I would support this, or do you want really a sibling of Finland after Finland? So this is always a little ambiguous, not always obvious. What do you mean? So that's just one reason why I said dropping as a child always means append, and for all the other cases you can.
I would have expected it to detect it's on the separation line between 2004 and 2005.
Of course, you can do it. So it was just because I didn't want to make them, so for example, more complicated. But so you are free to.
But in principle, it's possible.
Yeah. Okay. And as I said, you have this important button here with resolve. Another small problem is, just to confuse you, I could sort the capitals, for example, or the states, and now you don't see which capital city to which state it belongs. But this is just a method of education or whatever. So just to confuse you, just to puzzle you. But you could use this example, this script, for example, to educate your children, to teach them the history of the European Union. Maybe later one would also need some extra functionality. For example, how to delete a state from the European Union. Okay. Actually, you can already just delete an item, but okay. But maybe something related to this. Okay. Good. Now let's see a little. What is this? What is this? I think I have to. Sorry. Okay. Good. Let's see the code. In the case of TkDND, so I really don't want to tell you much about the code because you can read yourself. So that is. At any rate, one important thing, that was a question from you here, the direct source. There is an important difference. TkDND, unfortunately, TkDND don't support retrieving the direct source. For this reason, I had to use a global variable and to enable later on retrieving the direct source, because I have to know the direct source when dropping something. So this is why I use a global variable holding the direct source. And actually, what happens here? I just take the selection, a list of selections, and the direct source is nothing else than a list of state names. That is the data being dragged, nothing else. You see the states, and the last line shows we are doing a drag supporting the copy operation, data type DND text, and this is the data that is being dropped, states, the list of states. And the same for the list for a capital. The only difference is we can only select one capital city. It doesn't make sense to support several capitals. So that is the rest is the same actually. And the third binding script, the third procedure implemented as part of a binding script is what happens if the source now gets notified that we have dropped something. Then this on table drag end command will be automatically invoked, and in the normal case is this command has to be able to get the information whether the drop was refused or was accepted. You can see this if statement here. If it wasn't refused, it was not refused, then we just delete the selection and we mark the item with the red color. Just an example, just to show that this item has already been dragged and dropped somewhere as a state or as a capital city. Maybe a little more interesting is the drop target implementation. I have already shown you that we have to implement binding scripts for these events, and in these binding scripts we use this target mark, pause, this target mark, pause, hide target mark, show target mark, these subcommands, depending on the state on the drag source. Actually, just read the comments. It is not complicated at all. We have to we start with retrieving by calling target mark pause to see whether we have inside or we have before. In this case, we always only have inside because we passed that dash vertical option, and this is good for the case that we want to drop a state item into the European Union table, but we could also have the case that we want to drop a state as a sibling, or we want to and for this reason we also take the case. We also handle the case that we. So what this table depth row equals to, that means that is no top level item, so not a year item but a state item. So if we have a state item and then of course we don't want to accept the case that we want to drop a state inside a state. In that case, we have to change the option from vertical to horizontal, because we want to drop a state as a sibling. So, okay. And the rest is actually quite easy and quite trivial. If we want to refuse the drop, to reject the drop, then we have to return refuse drop. And of course, we should then hide the target mark, the vertical or horizontal mark, a bar or a gap
And if we accept the drop, then we want to show the target mark. Okay, same for the capital city. Okay, now the same for BWidget. Actually, there is very much similarity between the two scripts. As I said, we have to implement some callbacks, but the callbacks are again very similar. They just build a list of states or just a capital name, and in this case we also specify we want to make a copy, to do a copy, and we want to support this data type called tablelist data. I said tablelist data is just one arbitrary name of a type.
Is it also possible to drag an item from the operating system, like a file?
If you are using TkDND, so BWidget doesn't allow you that. BWidget.
This is a big difference.
Yeah. TkDND is an implementation of a quite general drag and drop concept, supporting file names, supporting some other types too, HTML, colors. I don't know exactly what types, but at any rate, file names. That is important. That is an important use case. With BWidget, you can only have drag and drop inside the same TkDND and only TkDND application. And that might, of course, be a quite important decision criteria, because, of course, if you want to drop file names, then you will have to use TkDND. Okay, in the case of BWidget, we have again the drag-end command. So what happens if the source now gets notified about notified of a drop operation? Again, it has to know whether the drop was refused or accepted. If the drop was accepted, then again delete the solution, the selection, and mark the items, the dragged items with a red color. So in this example, and actually nearly the same in the handling of the drop target handling. Again, using target mark, show target mark, hide target mark. Nothing special. There are just a few BWidget specific things like having to set the cursor to dot or base arrow down. I will show you this in a minute, because BWidget doesn't handle everything just as automatically. It is much better if I show you exactly the same example, but in this case with BWidget. You will see that actually for the user there is only the difference that now you can see. So this is not accept. So no, don't accept. So reject. And this is now accepting. So this is the form. This is the shape of the cursor. This is accepting, and let's say whatever. This is now rejecting. So rejecting. In this case, the cursor has the name dot. This is a built-in cursor of TK, and this is the built-in whatever that complicated name. Okay, so the rest is nearly the same. Good. I think I am ready. Just sorry.
So the cursors you have to switch manually.
This is where I have to set the cursor, set cursor to dot, or set cursor to based arrow down, because that is not done automatically by BWidget. Maybe it should
be, but it is, of course, my experience is that I had to do that. I had to study the BWidget code, and so I found out that the two cursors for reject and for accept are these dot and later down, and so I had to set the cursor. Okay, and the last thing is how to handle the drop operation itself. The drop operation itself, is handled in the same way in both cases, whether we are using TkDND or BWidget. Is here you can see you either invoke insert child, so insert something under a year item, or
insert at the end of the row. Yeah.
No, this is a sibling, and this is appending, and this is in the case of a capital that is dropping inside the state. So nothing special, actually, pure tablelist built-in command. This has no longer anything to do with drag and drop. Just your decision. What do you want? Do you want to update the data of a row? Do you want to insert a sibling? Do you want to insert a child under a year? Whatever your application needs. Okay, and that was all. Thank you for your attention. Okay.
Why did you choose to opt for BWidget?
Let's see. Let's say in Tablelist, I don't make any difference whether there is much demand or not. I have to support BWidget because there are surely many applications written with BWidget. Even if new applications are being developed using, let's say, tile widgets and some other things. But I just wanted, of course, for completeness and for compatibility. I couldn't just say BWidget is old, it is not important or not whatever. So this is why I said I will, of course, TkDND as a new, more modern and more let's see, more general drag and drop implementation. This was quite important to be supported, and BWidget because BWidget is being used or was at any rate used in many applications. So, and I know there are many scripts in the written in many applications. There are cases where BWidget, even drag and drop with BWidget, is being used. For example, WildUK at the NASA is using BWidget. Drag and drop is BWidget and this Tablelist. So that was one of the reasons why I implemented it, because I know there are still applications which use BWidget. Also because TkDND was not yet ripe for a real was not yet as much developed as it should be. So this is maybe with version 2.7 now it reached a stable state, a really usable state. Before that version, there were a lot of bugs still in TkDND and a lot of things that simply didn't work. So I had to convince Georgios to improve it. And also because it is really a quite good thing to have a general TkD, general drag and drop concept in usable integral.
Can you imagine if we put TkDND into the TK core?
I can imagine what Georgios would say. He will refuse it. Yeah, because he would have to write a documentation for it and to improve a few things and so on.
He would have to write a tip.
It is in the active state teapot or whatever, yeah. So you can download it any time from active state. But that is the same problem like with many other extensions, TK extensions. People are too busy or are too whatever to write documentation, for example.
My question was more on the technical side.
Yeah.
Do you see it feasible to do that, to go this way, or?
It would be possible, and it should be done. Actually, it should be done.
The logical thing to do would be the same as with TkDND was done. I mean, there are also extensions in TkDND, the TDBC,
Yeah.
things in
Yeah.
separate
Yeah.
directory, so you can use it or not. With TK could be done the same. That would be the logic.
There were already some older versions of TkDND they had some sort of experimental state, and now this is I can say you this is the first really usable version, TkDND 2.7.
Yeah, I would say write a tip.
Another question.
Yeah.
Have you thought about a multi-touch scenario at all? Where you might have multiple pointers, one pointer which starts a drag and another pointer which starts another drag, then you have your global variable and it might get confused with TkDND.
No.
Might not even
Up to
support it,
no. But I said you could have a TkDND application on some completely different application, and so actually the whole thing works in between two different applications also. So
yeah, I think it might not quite work so well. If you go back to the example with the TkDND, you have your global variable.
Yes.
And it stores what exactly you're dragging, your drag pointer or something. Imagine you have a second pointer, you start a second drag at the same time, you have one global variable, so the second drop always wins, even if you have two separate pointers, like two mice
But you can't have two at the same time, actually. Not really at the same time.
Yeah, it is possible to have.
You only have one right hand.
Well, you have 10 fingers, and a multi-touch display might be.
I don't know.
It seems slightly constructed, but an actual use case for.
Who knows? It would be interesting to see whether something could be done. Yeah. Okay.
A matter of implementing the commands, isn't it? For example, if you don't use a simple global variable but an array.
Yes, of course. Of course.
The drag source from.
Of course.
The target for some source.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not really a matter of using an array, but if you implement the drag target function, how would you distinguish which
you can put
the array you need?
You can put it into the drag data. The drag data in Java's case was just the capital name and just the state name, but you can transport anything. You can transport a list where you have the source and
yes, but the problem is any foreign application